The galaxy was silent that night, a silence too heavy, too strange. On the outer rim of the Zalorian system, a transport ship drifted half-broken, its engines failing, its crew gasping for hope. Smoke curled inside the bridge, alarms screamed in dying voices, and the captain of the vessel knew the end had already come. The raiders would not spare them. They had already burned 3 colonies. They had left planets as nothing but ash and glass. And now, they had found this transport ship filled with civilians, families, traders, children too young to understand why death was coming for them. The captain closed his eyes and whispered a final prayer. Then something impossible happened. From the darkness of space, a ship appeared. Not a warship. Not a battle cruiser. Small. Old. Scarred. It was not even recognized by the ship's sensors. Its hull was patched with strange metals. Its shape was like no vessel the Zalorians had seen before. And it did not flee. It moved straight between the raiders and the broken transport ship. The captain thought it was madness. One small craft against the giant raider fleet? It was suicide. Yet in that single breath of hesitation, the raiders stopped firing. Their ships scanned the strange object. Their comms buzzed with confusion. That was when the first voice came through the broken comm systems of the transport ship. It was not Zalorian. It was not raider tongue. It was deep, calm, human. Hold on. You are not alone anymore. The crew froze. The word was unknown, yet somehow clear, translated through an old emergency band no one used anymore. A language almost forgotten in the galaxy. The captain's eyes widened. He had heard the rumors, the stories told in whispers across ports and colonies. The old species. The lost world. Humanity. But they were supposed to be gone. Extinct. Nothing but myth. The small ship turned, and then the stars lit up. In one movement, it released fire and thunder. Weapons the raiders had never seen ripped through their shields. One after another, their massive ships burned and broke apart, exploding in silence against the black void. The raiders panicked, their formations shattering, their engines failing, their pride turned into fear. It was over in minutes. The transport ship floated in stunned silence. Children cried not from fear now, but from shock, from the sudden return of hope. The captain reached for his controls, voice shaking. "This is the Zalorian transport vessel. Who are you?" The answer came slow, heavy with meaning. "Humanity. And you saved one of us." The words cut deeper than any blade. Saved one of them. The captain's thoughts raced. A century ago, a dying traveler had appeared on a frontier world, a broken wanderer in a strange body. He had been tended, hidden, kept alive in secret by the Zalorians, though no one had ever understood where he came from. The man had died years ago, his body given a grave of honor. The captain's heart raced. Could this be connected? The human voice spoke again. "You gave mercy when no one else would. Now humanity returns that gift." As the small ship drifted close, its hull opened, and for the first time in living memory, the Zalorians saw a human face. Pale, scarred, eyes sharp like steel, filled with both sorrow and fire. He looked at them not as strangers, but as family. Behind him, the shadow of more ships flickered into view. Not small, not weak, giant, ancient warships emerging from the dark. The Zalorian crew gasped as hundreds of vessels appeared one after another, forming a wall of steel and fire across the system. They bore the mark of a people long forgotten. Humanity had returned, and it had returned with power. The captain whispered the only words his voice could form. "You saved us." The human only nodded. "You saved us first." And with that, the night of silence ended. The galaxy would never be the same again. The Zalorian transport ship drifted silently, surrounded now by the shadow of the human fleet. None of the crew spoke. None dared to breathe too loud. It was one thing to survive death. It was another to see a myth standing in front of you. The humans. For generations, they had been nothing but a story, An old warning told by traders and smugglers in forgotten corners of space. The kind of tale no one really believed. Humanity, the lost predators of the stars. Some said they had destroyed themselves in endless wars. Others whispered that they had gone into exile, too dangerous to live among other species. But now, here they were. The captain stared at the screen as the small human vessel docked with his crippled transport. The doors hissed. The crew tensed. Even the children were silent, sensing something greater than fear itself. Then he walked in. The human. His boots echoed on the metal floor. His uniform was dark, worn, yet his presence filled the entire ship. His eyes scanned every corner, sharp and calculating, as if nothing escaped his sight. His face carried scars, not of weakness, but of survival. He stopped, standing tall before the captain, and spoke in that calm, deep voice. "You kept one of us alive. For that, you have our debt." The crew looked at each other. Confusion spread across their faces. The captain finally found the courage to speak. "You mean, the traveler? The one we sheltered years ago?" The human's eyes softened for a moment, almost like remembering a friend. "Yes. He was one of ours. And you gave him peace when he had none." The Zalorians were silent. None had truly understood who that wanderer had been. Now, the truth burned brighter than any star. They had saved a human, and now humanity had come back. But the weight of their return was heavy. Through the shattered windows of the transport, the Zalorian crew could see the human fleet still forming in the system. Ships, hundreds of them, moved with perfect discipline. Their hulls were scarred by ancient wars, their weapons glowing with quiet power. These were not just warships. They were relics of survival. And they had not come by accident. The captain felt both awe and fear. "Why now?" he asked carefully. "Why return after so long?" The human did not answer at first. His gaze lingered on the children hiding behind their parents. His hand rested gently on the railing, his voice low. "Because the galaxy has forgotten mercy. You remembered it." The words struck like thunder. Before anyone could respond, the ship shuddered. Warning lights flashed. Sensors screamed. "They're back!" a Zalorian officer cried. "The raiders, reinforcements are coming." The crew panicked. Their engines were dead. Their shields were gone. They would never survive another attack. But the human only touched his comms. "They will not touch you again." Outside, the void lit up. The human fleet moved as one. Their formations shifted like a predator circling prey. The raiders poured into the system. Dozens, then hundreds of ships, snarling with weapons charged and bloodlust burning. They expected an easy slaughter. Instead, they met humanity. The first volley shook the stars. Human weapons tore through the raider shields as if they were nothing. Bright explosions ripped open the dark sky. The raider fleet stumbled, their confidence breaking. For the first time, the hunters knew fear. The Zalorian crew watched in stunned silence. Every strike was precise. Every maneuver was clean. There was no mercy, no hesitation. Humanity fought not like a desperate species clinging to survival, but like warriors who had prepared for this very day. Minutes turned to hours. The battle raged, but the outcome was already written. Raider ships burned. Their formations collapsed. And finally, the survivors fled into the endless void. The captain's hands shook as he gripped the controls. You destroyed them." The human turned, his eyes cold, his voice steady. "We protected you." The captain swallowed hard. He did not know whether to feel gratitude or fear. The power he had just witnessed was unlike anything in living memory. But deep inside, another thought began to rise. If humanity had stayed hidden for so long, if they had carried this much strength in silence, then what else were they hiding? The human commander gave no answer to unspoken questions. He simply stepped forward, his shadow long against the deck. "Tell your people this, humanity has returned. And this time, We are not leaving. The words hung in the air like a promise, and a warning. The Zalorian crew exchanged fearful glances. None of them could know it yet, but the night humanity returned was the night the galaxy's balance shattered. The myths were real. And the predators were awake. The battle was over, but the silence after was louder than war. The Zalorian transport floated like a leaf between storms, its hull cracked, its people shaken. Around it, the human fleet stood like an iron wall, their ships glowing faintly in the dark, their weapons still warm from fire. The crew did not cheer. They only stared. For the first time in living memory, the raiders had been beaten, not just beaten, but broken, shattered, driven out like frightened animals. The galaxy had never seen such a thing. The captain looked again at the human standing on his deck. The man was silent, his gaze fixed on the void outside the window, as if he were listening to something no one else could hear. Finally, the captain spoke, his voice shaking. You fight as if the stars themselves obey you. But why? Why help us? The human turned slowly, his eyes sharp. Because you showed us mercy when no one else did. Humanity does not forget. The words sent a chill through the crew. It was not anger. It was not pride. It was something deeper, heavier. A promise carved into their very blood. The Zalorian first officer, a young woman with trembling hands, whispered what many were thinking. If this is what one human fleet can do, then why did you vanish? Why did you leave the galaxy to suffer? The human did not answer right away. His hand tightened on the railing. His scars seemed to speak before his mouth did. We left, he said slowly, because the galaxy was not ready for us. The silence after those words was unbearable. The crew felt as if they were standing on the edge of a secret too vast, too dangerous to touch. Before the captain could press further, the ship's sensors flickered. A faint signal, weak but clear, came through the comms. Not raider. Not human. Something else. The captain frowned. It's a distress call. The human's eyes narrowed. He walked toward the console and listened. It was a Zalorian voice. A mining colony, 3 systems away, crying for help. The raiders had struck again. Thousands of lives hung in the balance. The captain's heart sank. Their ship was crippled, unable to move. He turned to the human, uncertain. But the man's face had already hardened. Set a course. We'll go. The captain hesitated. You would fight for us again. The human looked at him, as if the question itself was strange. You saved one of us. Now we save all of you. That is how it works. The human fleet turned, engines igniting like suns. One by one, their ships vanished into faster-than-light jumps, heading straight toward the colony in danger. The Zalorians watched in awe. The captain whispered, "They fight for us, but what price will come with their protection?" Hours later, the human fleet arrived. The mining colony hung in orbit of a small red star, its surface scarred with factories and tunnels. Above it, the raiders swarmed like vultures, tearing into defenseless ships, raining fire on civilian habitats. But when humanity arrived, the sky itself changed. The human warships burst from hyperspace, their weapons already burning. Raider ships exploded in every direction. Human cruisers dove between the colony and the enemy, absorbing every strike, returning fire with merciless precision. The colony below watched as the myths of old fought for them. For the first time in a century, the raiders ran. On the surface, survivors gathered outside the shelters. They pointed to the sky, tears running down their faces. Children shouted, "The protectors have come," though none had ever known the word human before this day. The battle ended in less than an hour. When silence returned, the colony looked up at the human fleet with a mix of wonder and fear. They were saved, but they all understood something had changed forever. Back aboard the Zalorian transport, the captain spoke carefully. "You did not just save us. You saved all of them. Why? Why risk so much for people you do not know?" The human commander's eyes softened again, just for a moment. "Because once, Long ago, we were like you. Weak. Hunted. Alone. And someone saved us. The crew leaned forward, holding their breath. This was not just war. This was history unraveling before their eyes. But before anyone could ask more, alarms blared again. A warning came through the human fleet's comms. Not raiders this time. Something bigger. Something worse. Another power had noticed the return of humanity. And they were coming. The human commander's face darkened, his voice calm but sharp. The galaxy is waking up. And it will not all welcome us. The Zalorian captain swallowed hard. For the first time, he realized, saving a human had not just brought them protection. It had brought them into a storm greater than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The distress call had been silenced. The colony was safe. But the galaxy was not. From the bridge of the Zalorian transport, the crew watched as human ships regrouped. Their movements were sharp, disciplined, almost frightening in their precision. It was like watching predators circle, waiting for the next hunt. The captain's hands trembled on the console. He wanted to believe this was salvation, yet a shadow of fear grew inside him. Humanity had returned, and their power was beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Then the alarms screamed again. The human commander reacted instantly. His voice cut through the comms. Fleet, defensive formation. Prepare for arrival. The Zalorians froze. Arrival? Arrival of what? And then the stars tore open. Not raiders this time. These ships were different, vast, angular, black as obsidian. Their hulls glowed with strange red veins of energy. They appeared like shadows given form, spreading across the system like a plague. The Zalorian first officer gasped. It's the Dominion. The name dropped like poison into the room. The Dominion were not raiders. They were conquerors. Entire empires had fallen to them. Worlds burned at their command. Unlike raiders, they did not strike for loot. They struck to erase, to consume. And now, they had come here. The human commander's expression hardened. He spoke calmly, as if expecting this. They noticed. We knew they would. The captain turned sharply. You mean, you knew this would bring them? The human nodded once. Humanity's return was never going to be quiet. The Dominion fleet moved fast, their weapons glowing with crimson fire. The mining colony below screamed for help, every channel flooding with desperate voices. The captain felt despair clawing at his chest. Even with humanity here, how could anyone stand against the Dominion? But the human commander raised his hand. His eyes burned like steel. We don't run. Outside, the human fleet shifted, splitting into wings. Battleships formed the front line, carriers deployed waves of smaller craft, destroyers weaved between them like knives. The formation looked old, ancient, yet perfectly designed, as if honed over centuries of war. Then the void erupted. The Dominion fired first. Crimson beams ripped across the stars, slamming into human shields. Explosions tore through the blackness. For a moment, it seemed even humanity would break. But then came the answer. The human fleet unleashed its fire. Missiles streaked like burning comets. Rail cannons thundered, each shot tearing through Dominion armor. Fighters darted between the massive vessels, striking fast, vanishing before counterfire could touch them. Every move was deadly, every strike precise. The Zalorian crew clung to the railings, eyes wide. This was no battle. They were watching a storm made of fire and steel. Yet the Dominion did not fall easily. Their ships were vast, their numbers endless. For every vessel that burned, another emerged. For every formation shattered, more appeared from the rift in space. The human commander stood firm, his voice sharp through the comms. Hold the line. No Dominion ship touches that colony. The battle stretched on. Minutes felt like hours. The system itself seemed to shake under the clash. Then, disaster struck. One of the human battleships, massive, scarred, a giant of war, took a direct hit. Its shields collapsed, its engines flared, and with a roar that shook even the void, it exploded. The shockwave sent smaller ships spinning. The Dominion cheered across their comms. The Zalorian captain's heart sank. Even humanity could bleed. He turned to the human commander. "You'll lose too much. You must retreat." But the man did not flinch. His eyes were cold, his jaw set. "Humanity does not retreat. Not today." The words carried a weight that silenced the bridge. They were not arrogance. They were truth. Then the humans revealed something no one expected. From the rear of their fleet, ships moved forward, different from the rest. Larger. Older. Their hulls glowed faintly with strange energy, like relics from another age. The commander gave the order. "Activate the arcs." The stars lit up. The arc ships unleashed their power, massive beams of white energy, cutting through the void like suns breaking the night. Dominion vessels disintegrated under the blasts, their mighty hulls torn apart in seconds. Entire formations were erased in silence. The Zalorians stared, unable to breathe. These were not ordinary ships. These were something greater. Something ancient. Something the galaxy had not seen for millennia. The Dominion fleet faltered. For the first time, they hesitated. The human commander's voice was calm, but it carried across every channel. "Tell the galaxy. Tell them all. Humanity is back. And we will not kneel." The battle raged on, but the message had already been written in fire. The predators of old had awakened. And the galaxy would never sleep again. The Dominion fleet pulled back, their ships vanishing into the rift they had come from. Silence returned, but it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence before a storm. On the bridge of the Zalorian transport, the crew still clung to the railings, staring at the void where the Dominion had stood moments before. The air felt heavy, like the galaxy itself was holding its breath. The captain finally spoke, his voice unsteady. "They will return. Stronger. With more ships." The human commander nodded slowly. His scars caught the faint light, his eyes sharp with certainty. "Yes. They will come. And when they do, they will not just come for you. They will come for us." The words sent a chill across the bridge. Humanity had revealed itself, and the Dominion had seen. The secret was gone. The galaxy now knew the predators of old still lived. The Zalorian first officer whispered, almost afraid to speak. "Why do they fear you so much? What are you to them?" The human commander's jaw tightened. For a moment, he looked as if he would not answer. Then, slowly he spoke. "Because once, long ago, we nearly destroyed them." The crew froze. The Dominion, the monsters who had erased empires, who had conquered worlds without resistance, had been beaten before. By humans. The captain's throat went dry. "You mean, humanity fought them?" The commander's voice dropped lower, heavy with memory. "We didn't just fight. We hunted them. We drove them to the edge of extinction. And they never forgave us." No one spoke after that. The revelation was too vast, too heavy to believe. Humanity had not just vanished, they had been hiding, watching, waiting for the day the galaxy would burn again. Before the crew could ask more, a signal burst across the comms. It was not human. It was not Dominion. It was something else. The captain leaned closer. His eyes widened. "It's the Galactic Council." The Council. The most powerful alliance in the known galaxy. Dozens of species bound together under fragile treaties and endless politics. For centuries, they had claimed to keep peace. But their fleets had never stopped the raiders. Their words had never saved a single colony. And now they were calling. The human commander listened as the Council's message filled the ship. The voice was sharp, commanding, layered with arrogance. "To the unknown fleet that has revealed itself in the Zalorian system, you are ordered to stand down. Withdraw your forces. Humanity has no authority here." The galaxy does not need your kind. The Zalorian crew gasped. Ordered. After saving thousands of lives? After driving back both Raiders and Dominion? The human commander's face was unreadable. He did not respond immediately. He only turned to the Zalorian captain. This is the part you must understand. They will not welcome us. Not the Council. Not the Dominion. Not anyone. They fear us too much. The captain swallowed hard. And if you refuse to stand down? The human's eyes burned like steel. Then they will try to erase us. Just like before. The comms flickered again. This time it was not words, it was ships. From hyperspace, the Council's fleet emerged. Sleek, shining, polished vessels, carrying the flags of a dozen species. Their weapons glowed, pointed directly at the humans. The Zalorian crew watched in horror. They mean to fight you, the first officer whispered. The human commander did not flinch. His voice was calm, steady, unbroken. Let them try. For a moment, the void was frozen. Two powers stood against each other, the old myths of humanity, scarred but unbroken, and the proud council, masters of politics but strangers to true war. The captain felt his heart pound. He had no doubt who would win. He only feared what the galaxy would look like after. The council hailed again, their voice harsher now. This is your final warning. Leave this system, or be destroyed. The human commander finally spoke, his voice echoing through the comms, reaching every ship, every ear. Destroyed? We are humanity. We do not vanish. We do not kneel. And we do not forget. The words cut through the silence like fire. The council ships hesitated, their captains shifting nervously. They had seen what humanity did to the Raiders. They had seen the Dominion fall back. And now they were asked to face the same storm. The standoff stretched. Seconds felt like hours. And then, somewhere deep in the human fleet, a signal lit up. A signal the Zalorians did not understand, but one that carried through every human vessel. The humans were ready. The galaxy stood at the edge of war. The standoff held. Humanity's fleet floated in silence, weapons glowing faintly, engines humming like a beast waiting to strike. Across from them, the ships of the Galactic Council formed a shimmering wall, their polished hulls reflecting the cold stars. The void between them felt heavier than any battlefield. The Zalorian captain gripped the console, his heart pounding. He knew the Council's fleets, decorated, vast, proud. But he had also seen humanity fight. He had seen what they did to the Dominion, to the Raiders. And he knew the truth. This would not be a battle. This would be a massacre. The Council's voice cut through the silence once more, sharp with arrogance. Human fleet, you have interfered in Council space. You are a threat to galactic stability. You will stand down immediately, or face destruction. The Zalorian crew exchanged fearful looks. They whispered among themselves, why threaten the very ones who had saved them? Why treat saviors like criminals? The human commander stood tall, his voice calm, steady, almost cold. You speak of stability, but you let Raiders burn colonies. You let the Dominion spread like a plague. You did nothing. We did not come to replace you. But we will not watch worlds die while you hide behind words. The Council ships shifted uneasily. Some captains hesitated. But the central voice pressed on, filled with fury. Humanity is dangerous. You always were. The galaxy remembers your wars. We will not allow your return. The human commander's eyes narrowed. His scars caught the faint light. His voice was low, but it carried across every channel. Then remember this too, we are the reason the galaxy still breathes. And with that, the void erupted. The Council fired first. Bright lances of plasma streaked across space, slamming into human shields. Explosions rippled through the black. For a moment, the Council's fleet looked powerful, unstoppable. Then humanity answered. The human warships moved like predators unleashed. Railguns thundered. Missiles tore through shields as if they were paper. Fighters darted between council lines, striking with precision, vanishing before counterfire could touch them. The Zalorian crew could only stare, their mouths open, their bodies shaking. "This isn't a battle," the first officer whispered. "It's slaughter." Council ships exploded one after another. Their polished hulls shattered, their formations broke apart. The proud fleet that claimed to rule the galaxy was torn to pieces in minutes. The captain gripped the railing. His mind spun between awe and fear. Humanity was not just powerful. They were relentless. Ruthless. Every strike carried not only strength, but memory. Old wounds, old wars, old fury. And yet, the humans did not cheer. They did not boast. Their voices on the comms were cold, focused, efficient. Target down. Shields stable. Move to next formation. It was war, but to them it was also something more. It was justice. The Council fleet tried to retreat. A dozen ships jumped to hyperspace, fleeing like frightened children. But humanity did not chase them. The commander gave the order, "Hold position." The surviving Council ships scattered into the void, carrying their shame with them. The system was quiet again. But the silence felt heavier than before. The Zalorian captain turned slowly, his voice trembling. "You've done it. You've made enemies of them all. The Council will never forgive this. They will call you monsters. They will call you a threat to the galaxy itself." The human commander looked at him, his eyes unblinking. "Let them call us what they wish. We know the truth. And soon, so will everyone else." The captain hesitated. "And what is that truth?" The human's voice dropped, sharp as a blade. "That humanity did not return to conquer. We returned because the galaxy is broken. And if we must become monsters to protect it, then so be it." The crew fell silent. None dared argue. None dared even breathe too loudly. But in the silence, a new fear began to grow. Because the Zalorians now understood something terrifying. The Raiders had failed. The Dominion had retreated. The Council had been shattered. Humanity had faced them all, and had not lost once. If this was the strength they carried after centuries of silence, then what would happen if humanity truly unleashed everything they had been hiding? The captain stared at the human commander, his voice a whisper. "What happens now?" The man's eyes burned like fire in the dark. His answer was simple. "Now, the galaxy learns who we are." The words struck like thunder. The myths had become real. The predators had returned. And there would be no turning back. The fleet hung in silence. Across the void, every ship waited for the humans' response. The message from Earth had been short, only 2 words, "We come." The Council trembled. Empires that once thought themselves unshakable now whispered prayers. No one had expected such a reply. No one had imagined the humans would not only arrive, but arrive like this. The first warships appeared, dark silhouettes against the stars. They were not like the vessels of the other races. Where others built elegant arcs and shining spires, the humans built monsters. Their ships looked like predators, wrapped in steel, bristling with cannons. Every hull carried scars of battles fought long before. They looked less like machines, and more like beasts forged for war. The survivors of the alien empire that had first enslaved the boy now saw the truth. The boy they had once captured was gone. In his place stood commanders, warriors, and machines unlike any they had ever faced. Humanity had not come with peace envoys. They had not come with soft words. They had come carrying fire. Admirals of other species sent frantic warnings. "Do not provoke them. Do not test them. You cannot understand what they are." But some did not listen. A proud warlord from the KRYL Dominion spat at the sight of human ships. He had never feared anyone before. His fleets had burned worlds and broken nations. He fired first, launching volleys of plasma at the lead human vessel. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the human ship moved. It did not dodge. It did not retreat. It simply absorbed the first wave, its shields glowing like fire. Then it answered. A single broadside erupted from its flank. The shot crossed the void like a burning spear. One heartbeat later, the warlord's ship was gone, erased from existence, shattered to dust. His entire command vessel, a city-sized ship veered across the stars, destroyed in a single strike. The galaxy gasped. The humans did not cheer. They did not boast. They simply advanced. Fleet after fleet tried to resist, but it was like throwing stones into a storm. Human ships cut through them with brutal precision. No wasted fire. No mercy. Every strike was exact, every move cold and calculated. They fought not like wild beasts, but like hunters who had studied their prey for centuries. On one world, an old counselor whispered as he watched the destruction on his screen, "This is not war. This is judgment." The boy, now a man hardened by years among the stars, stood aboard the human flagship. His eyes were steady, his voice calm. "You tried to break me. You tried to break humanity. Now you will see why that was your last mistake." The fleets of old powers shattered. The proud warlords who had once ruled with cruelty begged for mercy. But there was no mercy left in the humans' advance. Yet, among the destruction, something strange happened. On conquered worlds, where the weak had been crushed for generations, the humans did not destroy. They freed. Slaves were unchained. Cities once ruled by fear now looked up at the black silhouettes of human warships, and felt hope for the first time. The galaxy began to understand. Humanity was not only here to destroy. They were here to break the chains. And as the fleets burned, one question spread across every world, whispered in fear and awe alike. What happens when the humans are done saving us? The stars themselves seemed to tremble at the answer that might come.